All right, welcome back to Epicus Gamicus Musicus, here for Year by Year 1984, the year of, I think it was George Orwell,
Yeah, George Orwell, yeah.
George Orwell's classic novel, 1984, dystopian.
Yeah,
Turned out to be nothing like 1984, but you know.
yeah.
So we're going to talk about the real 1984, and I believe it's my week to go first. So my first album is Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen.
It's a great album for him. It's
Yeah, it's a classic.
basically his introduction into MTV
Yeah.
got him in.
Because he was one of the artists who was super resistant to MTV.
Kind of a holdout there, yeah.
Actually, I mean, he's a pretty old-fashioned artist for
Yeah,
the 80s.
true.
So. But yeah, and you have to mention the title track, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Born in the USA.
Classic anti-war anthem.
Yeah.
Even though it's almost consistently not used like that, especially when Ronald Reagan used it for his campaign, which is one of the most hilarious blunders I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely.
It is pretty funny. What else is this on this album?
Dancing in the Dark.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
another big hit for him.
Yeah, that one's probably the poppiest Bruce Springsteen song.
Yeah, definitely.
You got other stuff like Darlington County. A lot of great lines in that song.
Yeah.
Drove 800 miles without seeing a cop. Which is Road Trip Dreams right there.
Oh, yeah.
What was the other line? Oh, rock and roll music blasting out the T-top.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like a road trip theme song right there. You can have a
You-
montage behind it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and then you got Glory Days, which is almost like a companion song to it.
Yeah.
Kind of has the same feel there.
Just a bit of reminiscing about the old times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's your number?
My number one, first is Bryan Adams' Reckless. It's honestly got most of his hits. I would venture to say at least the majority of his hits were from this album.
It doesn't have his biggest hit, though, does it?
I'm honestly not certain what song that is.
Summer of 69, isn't it?
No, it has Summer 69.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Did I listen to the wrong album? Uh-oh. I think I did. I mean, I saw Reckless. I knew it was Reckless, so... Whatever. I mean, I like Bryan Adams. He's kind of just consistent pop rock.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. It's kind of middle of the road there.
It's funny if you compare him to Def Leppard, because they're actually very similar.
Yeah, but they really don't get treated
Like,
the same. Do
If
they?
you find an acoustic Def Leppard song, it sounds like Bryan Adams.
It really does. Yeah.
And no, I was trying to convince somebody of this once. And then an acoustic version of Def Leppard came on, and she's like, "Yeah, now this is Bryan Adams." I'm like, "No, this is Def Leppard."
Did she actually say that?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's got that 80s pop rock thing down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Probably one of the best Canadian artists, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got,
You got anything else you want to say?
I was just gonna mention a couple of songs, but
Sure.
So-
Go ahead.
got Run to You. I think somebody's on there.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Heaven.
What's that? Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And of course, Summer 69 I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And it's a song with Tina Turner, apparently.
Yeah, that's an interesting one for him.
I guess my number 2 is going back to metal. Ride the Lightning by Metallica.
Oh yeah.
That's another.
So you got the title track there. For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
one
good
of my
one.
favorites from them.
And Fade to Black as well.
Yeah.
Kind of, they started trying out their ballads in this album.
Yeah, it is kind of experimental for them.
Compared to Kill 'Em All, they don't have.
Yeah.
It's all Kill 'Em All is straight up thrash metal.
Sounds not quite as consistent there.
Yeah, it's also got my favorite Metallica song, "Creeping Death," which is all about Moses and the killing the firstborn or whatever. That
I guess I hadn't picked up on that.
You didn't know
Wow.
that?
I did not
yeah,
know
it's the
that.
best Christian song ever. It's by Metallica,
Oh, yeah.
and it's called "Creeping Death."
What's What's not to like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also got Fight Fire with Fire, which is classic Metallica.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your next one?
My next one is Reckoning by REM. In my opinion, it's a really, people always think about like Document or other albums like that when they consider REM. But I'm really a fan of that early stuff, You got at least on this album, Don't Go Back to Rockville.
It's a good one.
South Central Rain. It's kind of a medium hit for them.
Yeah. To me, I hear a lot of like, you can sort of see where they're gonna transition and eventually make it to like is it Out of Time?
Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of got that 80s alternative thing going on.
Yeah, they do.
When alternative was actually alternative and not the mainstream.
Not just alternative, label it as alternative.
Yeah.
Pop label as alternative, sorry about that.
Although for me, this album doesn't have any standout songs. I mean, I never recognize the songs that you mentioned, but
yeah,
it doesn't have like your End of the World as We Know It,
or like nothing like their big hits.
Orange Crush or stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a consistent album, and I like
That's true.
some consistency. I like how you picked an album called Reckoning and an album called Reckless as well.
Yeah, I had thought about that, man.
All right, so my last album is Power Slave by Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah.
One of their classics, and one of my favorites. You've got Aces High, all about dogfighting and World War II.
Yeah, that's a good one.
2 Minutes to Midnight, it's a good one. I mean, you could basically list every song on this album, and they're all good.
And, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Oh, that's
I
a fun
think
one.
Is really, it's cool that they did that.
Yeah, and then it goes into the middle, and it's all creaky ship sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a fun one. Title track, obviously, Power Slave. It's a good one. I like Flash the Blade. It's kind of a underrated Iron Maiden song. It's just one of the forgotten ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's typical Iron Maiden, very sing-along, very enjoyable.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, what's your last album?
All right, my last album is Van Halen's, aptly named 1984.
Oh, 1980. That's not the first thing that pops up on Wikipedia when you type in 1984.
I mean, I always thought it was an 82 album, but it's David Lee Roth's last album with the band.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting, but it's also kind of like,
It's also their most mainstream album.
yeah, it moves into that synth they're known for in the later 80s, kind of.
I mean, actually, the later albums aren't even that synth heavy. This is the one that's synth heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Jump is just a synth line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's, and then, of course, you got Panama,
Yeah.
which was, I think it was used as the theme song for Gran Turismo 4, so.
Did not know that.
Yeah, something from my childhood. Of course, you got Hot for Teacher starts with all the drums and,
With
like, the motorcycle drums. It's like,
yeah. That famous music video.
yeah. And you got I'll Wait. That's a nice
Yeah.
sort of, I don't know if it's a ballad or whatever it is, but
I'd call it a ballad, yeah.
it's pretty cool. And I guess you can sort of see where they were going, where they ended up with Sammy Hagar's era.
Yeah.
And I'm still a big fan of the Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. I don't think they lost much losing David Lee Roth. They just sort of transitioned into a new sound.
Yeah, I could say that.
A very mainstream sound. They're nowhere near like the Van Halen 1 and 2 days.
Yeah, like it's...
Guitar tone everywhere. Yeah, I guess that was the last one. So, oh man, this is a tough choice for this week. What we got to get rid of. Honestly, I think I'm gonna have to get rid of Born in the USA. It's a tough choice, but that's the one.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm going to get rid of Reckoning for this one. It's just not as rocking as the rest of them.
Yeah, it doesn't have any
Still,
standout tracks.
Yeah.
So, can we agree Born in the USA stays in then?
I think we can.
All right. Well, that's been 1984. We'll see you again next week for 85. Goodbye.